We're showing the whole world what a country should be. United we stand in America, hand in hand in America. Together as one in a land that we love. United we stand in America.
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. It is Wednesday, December the 18th. You know, we're just about 1 week away from Christmas, aren't we? Less than a week. Yeah. So next week we will have hopefully we can have a Christmas show. We'll be celebrating with our family. Hope everybody is. But we'll try to have a old Christmas program and that you all can still enjoy. But we are live at the Axe Media Group headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. I'm Lynn Morris, and I'm the guy that started this show over 4 years ago, and Don Blackard started it with me. And then now we have Dr. Mary Byrne, and she's with her family for Christmas right now, so she won't be back until after the first of the year. And we have Jared Alexander. Jared, how are you doing?
I'm doing great this morning. How are you?
Well, just fine. Great to have you. We have got you linked in, and you weren't able to come here to the studio today, but we appreciate you coming, being on our show where we can talk to you, because you are the executive director of Harmony House. And Harmony House is a domestic violence, I want to call haven. I don't know if you've ever had anybody call you a safe haven before, but you are. And I think the listeners all over this country, if you don't have a domestic violence center in your area, wherever you live, you need to try to work together with all your civic and business and political leaders and try to figure out how you could have a domestic violence, because it's not someplace that's just in Southwest Missouri and no place else. And so, Jared, you've been executive director for about 2 years now, and then you worked with Harmony House before that for about 5 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been there just 5 years now this summer. Just finished my second full year as executive director. I was previously I was the development director, so I was doing all the fundraising and getting out in the community and telling people about what we're doing, and had the opportunity to interview for this role when my predecessor retired, and had really great time so far, and thankful to our board of directors for selecting me and giving me the opportunity.
Well, I tell you what, and I've heard that you're doing a great job, and I know Harmony House is extremely recognized all over the country and certainly our state on what you all do. So just give the listeners kind of a little sketch of what is Harmony House, and it's what you guys been in. You've been in operation since the mid 70s, 76, 77, or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Since 1976. And today we stand as Missouri's largest domestic violence shelter. We're here in Springfield, Missouri. We have 41 rooms with 168 beds available. And again, makes us the largest in the state. But, back in 1976, we were just started by a group of concerned citizens that were loosely affiliated with a church Sunday school group. And some other volunteers, and they saw a need. They saw that there were individuals in the community that needed help. They needed a safe place to go and get away from abusive situations at home. And they would just start picking them up and taking them back to their own homes. And, that was very brave of them and very, unique at the time. But I would tell you today, please don't do that. It's very dangerous. We know things, we've evolved and we've kind of learned more about different ways to support survivors. But from that, just small example of kindness and trying to help somebody in a dangerous situation to where we've grown almost 50 years later, it's amazing to see that, one, the community support for our organization still exists 50 years later, but unfortunately that the need is still there and greater than ever.
So right now, I understood. I talked to you a little bit before the show started, and so you're at full capacity right now. Is that correct?
We are, yeah, and so full for us is a little different. I mentioned 168 beds, but we're set up in a way that we have a room that's for a single adult or a family together. And so we wouldn't mix families in different rooms together. They'll get to stay all in the same space. So our full number ranges around 100 people at any one time. But we have the ability to utilize all those beds if ever needed. So, and yeah, like I mentioned, we go about 48 hours being about the longest time frame that a room is not occupied. And that's long enough for us to get it cleaned up, get it reset and comfortable for somebody else that is calling and in need.
So you have a waiting list.
We can't keep a waiting list.
Okay.
It's very difficult to manage, but we do have a consistent volume of callers that are calling our emergency hotline, or they're interacting with staff that we have in the building, but also across the town in the Family Justice Center departments, or in our outreach community staff that are out there too. So, unfortunately, we couldn't keep a wait list managed very effectively, but we do have a pretty consistent need of folks calling, and in those dire situations, those very high risk situations that are assessed by our staff, we can get folks into some hotel stays in a pinch, or we do utilize a wide network of other shelters across the state, just like Harmony House, that we're going to find someplace safe and secure for everybody that we can.
Very good. And I think I saw that you guys receive over 3,500 calls a year. Is that correct? That's a number I saw.
Yeah, I would pulled it up this morning for you, so I had the accurate count. We have cleared 3,500 calls this year.
Wow.
And last year that number was over 4,000. The year before that we were at 3,800. So the need and of people reaching out to us and wanting to sometimes just talk, sometimes just ask an advocate for help and get some advice. Or safety plan for themselves, safety plan for a loved one or family member. That still is a very important service that we're providing outside of the shelter piece too.
Well, and I tell you, I noticed that education is a big component of what you do. I mean, you don't just provide a safe room, a place to night to sleep and rest and meals. You also provide education, right?
It's very important to us. It's one of our pillars of our mission, is to educate the community, not only on what we do with the services we provide, but what abuse looks like, and how can we help people recognize what it looks like, respond in an effective way, and refer to those services that are going to be helpful, whether that's Harmony House or other victim agencies around the community, or to law enforcement, whatever that is. We want to educate more people about how can you help those around you. And ultimately, for me, I would love to see that maybe we're intervening in an earlier stage where people don't need a shelter, like the shelter aspect of Harmony House. We can get them out of those situations, provide them education, provide them resources out in the community, because if we're going to maintain being full. And I've been often asked in the last 2 years, are you considering a second shelter? And I'd say I don't really want to, because I think it would be full the day we opened it up, and that's not sustainable either. And I think I want to see us work more upstream in that education realm too.
Well, it'd be nice if we could prevent it. So I suspect that some of the women that come into your shelter, and I think that's why the education component is so important, because they probably feel guilt. They probably feel like maybe this whole situation is their fault. And I suspect that not always is it their fault. It could be their spouse. It could be his or her problem. And I say her because I don't want to forget to let the people know that you guys are unique. You guys are unique because a lot of shelters just have, like, for women. And in your shelter, you do have men every once in a while that has been abused and endangered, and so you accept them and help them too, right?
Absolutely. And Linda, you're right in your first statement that, one of the first things that we say when we interact with a caller or someone coming and knocking on our doors just right off the street is, this is not your fault. We believe you and we want to hear your story. We want to understand what's been going on, because a domestic abuse is ultimately rooted in power and control. There has been some power and control asserted over a victim, male or female. And they've oftentimes been led to believe it is their fault. That's part of the psychological abuse or the manipulation that's been enacted on them too. So that's, it's very important for us from a trauma-informed perspective to say the very first thing is, this isn't your fault, and this is something that, we want to hear what's going on and how we can help, and we believe you.
So that's extremely important. I'm glad you guys do that. And how many? Just think about all these women and children. Some of these moms have quite a few children that come and stay at the shelter
Yes.
too. So
Absolutely.
You got to feed them. How do they go to school? At a particular school, or do you educate them at your shelter? What do we do with the children?
Well, and you bring up a good point. So, I say that about 100 or so will be our full number in shelter. And at any one time, half of that number, whatever it is, will be kids under the age of 18. And a lot of them are school aged. And so we want to keep them on their regular schedules. We have a dedicated staff of family advocates and family case managers that are in shelter and there to support our families. And if that means helping make sure that we're getting them to school on time and getting them back from school on time, arranging bus schedules. Springfield Public Schools has been a great partner to make sure that our kids get to school safely and on time every day, and helping with transfers. If it makes sense that a student can stay in the school that they've been going to, if it's safe, it still makes, logistical sense. We want to keep them there and we'll get them back to that school every single day. But if for the best interest of the family and the student that it makes sense to transfer, we can make that happen as well and make sure that that's a seamless transition. Our staff handle all the paperwork and the logistics with the parent and get that taken care of. So while we don't have any educational programming as far as going to school and those things in shelter, we're still doing a lot of things to make sure that we're supporting those kids' education, offering tutoring as needed through our staff. There's a lot of activities going on, especially in the summertime when school's out. And over the winter breaks, we're going to have a lot of things to, doing some educational enrichment activities and things like that. But, our families are very important to us, and our kids, just because they're in shelter, that's, we're not going to miss out on opportunities like special holidays. Christmas right around the corner is a really, really big deal in shelter every year. We've been very grateful to the community for the outpouring support in gifts and funds to help us make a really special memory for these families. And all the holidays are going to be happening. We celebrate birthdays. We don't miss those opportunities to celebrate our kids.
Well, I tell you what, Jared, I just listened to you, and just in the short time that we've been visiting, I'm thinking about all the things that you've listed that you do. And so how many staff members do you have? All the people that's supporting this effort.
Yeah, it takes a village for sure. We are just over 62 staff members now this year.
Wow.
That are in the shelter or in our community programs, or across our victim advocacy work in Greene County right now. And it takes a lot for us to help, the growing need that's in this community.
Well, make sure you pass this back on to your staff members and yourself. I want you to know that you guys are difference makers. This show that we started, Don Blackard and I started almost 5 years ago now. We've had every show. There's not one that we haven't had that wasn't a difference maker. We pick people on purpose that are difference makers. We pick organizations that are difference makers. Not everybody's a difference maker, but certainly there is a lot of difference makers in our area. And one of the great things, and it may happen today, but with this show, they're going to hear all the things that you're doing, and you're providing stability, you're providing safety, you're providing happiness and joy, you're providing normality, a normal type lifestyle for these kids, because I have to think this got to be pretty traumatic. They're taken away from
Absolutely.
their home, their other spouse, whatever, parent, whatever, and they're in different surroundings and things. So all the things that you do and your staff is exactly why you're a difference maker. And so I want you to tell your staff that, because I don't think people that I see around Christian County in southwest Missouri, I don't think they all know how important they are. And volunteers. Do you have volunteers too? Can people volunteer to help you or not?
Absolutely. We have over 85 different volunteers that on a weekly basis that come in and help us with a range of things. And we're always looking for more. We're always interested to hear that, if you've got an interest in giving back and doing something special, we want to find a way to plug you into our mission. From answering the phones at the front desk and greeting our guests through the main lobby, to cooking and cleaning and serving in the kitchen, sorting clothing and donated household items through shelter, and then special opportunities like Christmas and the activities that I mentioned year round. There's always something to do that can be a huge help to our staff and our residents as well.
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad you're using volunteers, and volunteers are the lifeblood, I think, of many, many organizations. And down in Christian County, I tell people all the time, it's extremely important. We couldn't do all these nonprofits, all the organizations that I'm involved in and boards I serve on. We could not do it. We could not do our purpose. We couldn't do our mission statement if we didn't have volunteers. So they are extremely important. And I'm hoping that people that are watching and listening today, if they have some free time, it doesn't matter what age. You don't have to be an older person to be retired to be a volunteer. I'm sure you have different age groups. And hey, let me ask you this question, Jared. Anybody that kind of graduates from Harmony House and goes on and becomes stabilized and just having a normal, great life out there, does anybody ever come back and volunteer and help you all?
We have had that, yeah, from time to time. We do encourage that there's, we put some significant space and time between those two opportunities, right? That
Right.
We want to make sure that things are comfortable but yeah, we have had folks that come back. I would say majority not volunteering in shelter, but volunteering with, different activities that we have in the community, speaking engagements with our community and prevention education teams, being at special events like the Purple Party and just being a part of, celebrating that night and encouraging our community to get behind our mission. So we're always interested in ways, or doing donation drives. That's one common one that we see a lot. Or just sometimes coming in on occasion to speak to the clients that are in shelter at that time and tell them that, it's going to be okay and there's hope and you can do this, and give them some words of encouragement. That means the world. And that takes nothing, just to spend some time out of your day to talk with our families about, I've been where you are. I know that this is hard, but you can do this. And the team at Harmony House is here to help. I think that's one that's really, really special.
Well, I everything you're saying is so important today, and I think they're hearing it and getting it. So we're going to talk about some more important projects, but and how you raise money. But let me ask you this: so you mentioned the Purple. Is it the event, the party? What is that?
Yeah, the Purple Party. That's
Purple
that's
Party.
one of my favorites. That's a big fun night. Yeah, it's our 1980s themed event, special event in April of every year. We're actually going into our 10th anniversary of that event. And we have sold out the last 3 years. Over 500 people come out, and we have members only, the 80s cover band that plays a great show, and we have a great meal and just a fun night out, but supporting an important cause at Harmony House. We have a lot of fun and do all those fun things with our family and friends out there, but we get an opportunity to tell why we're doing it.
Hey, so Jared, when is that? When is that in 25?
Yeah, it's April 3rd, Thursday, April 3rd, 2025.
Okay, well, I might be able to dress up in the 80s. You could even ask me to dress up in the 60s or 70s, but I could do 80s. Janet and I could do that.
Hey, I'd let you borrow my purple suit. I've got one that I bought for this event. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, I like to do stuff like that. So we'll check into that and we'll try to promote that for you. April 3rd. Where will it be held?
It's at the Oasis.
Oasis, okay. All right. Know where that is. Okay. So I think right now, and we'll go do it again before we end this program, but how do people, let's just talk about telephone numbers,
Sure.
Just anyway, how are they going to get a hold of you? I know that you probably have stuff on Facebook and different things. So how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can always find great information on our website at myharmonyhouse.org. But the most important one that we have out there is that if you or someone you know is in need of services or needs to talk to an advocate or be assessed for shelter, we encourage you to call. It's 417-864-7233. It's 864-SAFE. And that is a free, confidential hotline that's going to go right to our advocate office. And it's always answered by a human being. You're not going to get an answering machine. That's why it's so important for us. I mentioned we have a large staff. The largest part of that staff is that advocate team. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's always somebody in that building that is answering that hotline phone. They're answering requests from folks that come in off the street, and they're caring for our clients that are in shelter at that time too. So 417-864-SAFE. Please call anytime. And we want to talk to you. We want to hear you. We believe you.
Well, very good. So I'll read that number again. It's 417-864-7233, right? 7233.
That's it.
That's SAFE. SAFE. That's pretty cool. And one more thing. So people is hearing today, this is a great time of the year. If you have any extra money, and people say, well, I don't have any extra money. Inflation's wrecked my budget the last 2 or 3 years, and Christmas is coming up. Unfortunately, I don't know why. I've been in the government as a state rep and school board and commissioner and presiding commissioner and all the things I've done. I don't know why we have taxes has to be paid by the end of the year, which is the time that everybody's trying to buy Christmas presents and everything else. It seems to kind of come at the worst time of the year. But there are people that are blessed out there, and I'm encouraging people all over this country and world to bless someone else with some financial resources if you have it, or volunteer, or do something nice for someone before Christmas and every day if you can. So how do people, if they want to donate to Harmony House, I know you have to have a big budget. How do people find out how to do that?
Well, the easiest way right now, if you're listening or watching this online, is on our website at myharmonyhouse.org. There's a big purple Donate Now button right at the top, and you can do that securely. Goes right to our mission and helps all the things I mentioned, plus a whole lot more. And the biggest one for us is keeping a great staff that's there and caring for people. But it does take a lot to run a shelter with 41 rooms and 168 beds. And you're right, we do have a pretty good substantial budget to maintain, but it does. we're very grateful to the supportive community, not just here in Southwest Missouri, but truly across the country of folks that have heard our message, or they've been touched by someone in their life that has either gone through our mission or been a part of unfortunate circumstances related to abuse, and they want to give back, and so we're very grateful for that. So the easiest way to do that is on myharmonyhouse.org. Always call our offices there and talk to our staff. Our development team is there working their tails off right now at the end of the year as well. And if you're a Missouri resident, we do have a special incentive through the state that we have 70% tax credits available for individuals or businesses. If you pay Missouri income tax, we can help you reduce that state bill at the end of the year too.
Very good, very good. So I'm sure you'll provide them one of the forms that they use, and they can save on their taxes, and at the same time, because you got to pay your taxes, so now you can save on your tax bill, and same time help a great organization like you guys. And I'm encouraging people today, anyone from Southwest Missouri, to step up and help Harmony House, and anywhere that you live in this country. We have people watching probably from all 50 states and some other countries today, and I hope you help your area out. It's really the right thing to do, and makes you feel pretty good to do. And actually, I'm sure that if someone only had $5, that would mean a lot to you guys. So
it really would. It really would. I mean, it takes all of us. It takes every little bit. If you're willing to give, we're going to be very grateful for your support.
Hey, Jared, tell me, one of the events that I used to participate, now I don't remember exactly what time of year, is when you have the makeup and you put the black on your eye, underneath your eye. Isn't that what?
Eye care, yeah.
Eye care. Oh, that's right. So tell me about eye care.
Yeah, so Eye Care is our awareness campaign. It happens in the month of October, which is actually National Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Okay.
And what that means for us is we mobilize the entire community, and specifically the business community around Springfield, Greene County, and surrounding areas, to help us in sharing that hotline number and sharing those resources, starting those difficult conversations sometimes in your place of business. And putting up lots and lots of posters and flyers and hotline tear-off flyers everywhere, because you never know where somebody is going to interact with that flyer that day in your retail shop, in your restaurant, in whatever industry. But that may be the day that they've decided in their life that today is the day I'm going to make a decision to either leave or ask for help on behalf of someone that I love, that I know is going through this. And that's what's really cool and about Eye Care. And honestly, one of the things that got me just so hooked and ingrained in our mission 5 years ago when I came here was what Eye Care has done. And we hear every year from business owners that have participated. They put up the flyers, they put up the posters across the store, and somebody will say, hey, I had a staff member come to me today and say, I need to talk to somebody, I need some help. And, being empowered as a business leader with that information made them feel really good about that their staff knew they could trust them, that they knew this was a safe place to work. It had trusted individuals that are looking over them. And I think that's what's really special about Eye Care, is how far and wide that message has been spread, not just across Springfield and surrounding areas, but we've seen it millions of times over the entire country through social media and different radio and TV outlets that we've been able to get it across to folks. So it's really special. And you mentioned, you've got listeners across the country now. And I was looking at some caller data from our staff today. That in the last 2 years, we've taken over 8,000 phone calls on that emergency hotline. Wow. Excuse me. But they've been coming from 35 different states across this country. That people are calling Harmony House in Springfield, Missouri, asking for help.
Yeah, that shows you we've got a epidemic. Actually, it's an epidemic. It's something that's extremely serious that no one deserves, and thank goodness we have places like yours and stuff like that. I will just tell you a short story. When your executive director that we just her name is slipping my mind, but she was there 8 years, and as a state rep, a couple of years, I put that black stuff underneath my one eye, and I'd go up to Jefferson City and serve Monday through Thursday, and I had people, state reps and senators, different people asking me what happened to me, and I would tell them that Janet hit me, my wife, and then I would lead into giving the brochures out that I was given and stuff like that, and talk about domestic violence. And I actually had a TV station from Jefferson City pick up on it. It was at the Capitol, and they interviewed me, and so I gave you guys some publicity up there in Jefferson City. I don't know if Springfield station ever picked up on that for me, but that is a great awareness program. It really calls attention to a problem, and then you all have a solution to that problem. So I applaud whoever thought of that program. Is pretty good. So
it's amazing the reach that it's had. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about one more thing, then I've got to take a short break, talk about our sponsors. But I understand you have a podcast that you've started. Tell me a little bit about the podcast.
We do, yeah. Just started this October with a couple of our staff members. They had an idea for this that they wanted to try, and it's in our prevention education team. But it's called Voices Against Violence. And you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you listen to them right now. And they've got about 7 or 8 episodes out already, but it's really a lot of what they do every day in educating the community, but they're kind of taking different topics, starting from what is domestic abuse and how do we define that, and what is power and control. Let's talk about that, to looking at different things that we see in the media these days or in the entertainment industry. Unfortunately, I think there's some celebrity or athlete or something every week or two that's associated with domestic assault or some kind of incident like that. And so they're kind of looking at those things and saying, okay, let's look at how would we spot that, and how, types of abuse to identify there that may resonate with somebody that's listening that may be in that situation. And it's all about that education of how do we respond and recognize what those signs look like. And already in just a few short episodes, we've had great feedback and folks that have reached out to us saying, I listened to this week's episode and the light bulb went off in my head. I'm in an abusive relationship myself. And you all helped me understand that and look for the right kind of help that I needed.
Well, how do people watch that podcast? How do they know how to see that?
Yeah, we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and I think on the RSS feed online, you can just search Voices Against Violence.
Okay.
And there's a link to it on our website as well. So at the top, I think there's some information about how to find our podcast and our blog information for our education team.
I think podcasts are becoming more popular, more people doing them, more people watching them. So your audience is probably going to continue to grow as you educate people to what you're doing. And so I think that's another great thing that you guys are providing. And
I tell you, Kristen and Charity, who are our staff members that do that, they do such an outstanding job. They're subject matter experts. They're both highly educated on this topic, and they do just a great job of talking about the issues, highlighting those warning signs, and kind of dissecting, what could this look like, or if you're in this situation, what could you do yourself, or how to help somebody that way too.
Wow, very good. Okay, well, just take a little break. We're going to spend about 5 minutes with our 2 sponsors, letting everyone know how we come to them every week, and then we'll be back, just kind of wrap things up. Okay, Jared? So great job
Sounds
so far.
Great.
You a wealth of information. I'm hoping that people are understanding how important what Harmony House does and what domestic violence, how it tears up a family, and no one deserves that. And so you guys are difference makers. Our two sponsors that we have, and we've had them for quite some time, extremely proud of them. Brad Pistow. He's a certified fiduciary financial planner located in Ozark, Missouri. And that doesn't mean that if you're in Oklahoma or Texas or Tennessee or wherever you live, Arkansas, wherever you live, doesn't mean that you can't get help. It's never too early to think about retirement. He is a retirement specialist. I use him. Many of my friends, my family members, I would not recommend someone who's not the best. This man is licensed in 12 states. He has associates in all 50 states. He contributes articles to Wall Street Journal, to USA Today, on and on and on. He's written 2 books. Both of them are #1 best-selling retirement books on Amazon. The first one is Safe Money Matters, and it really does. Your retirement money has to be safe. It does matter. And the second book is Bulletproof. And you want something that's bulletproof if you're retirement age and you've got retirement money. Everybody's always worried about running out of their money before they run out of life. Well, if you use Brad Pistow, he doesn't charge you to talk to him, and you can get books. You can call 417-581-9222, 417-581-9222. And Lisa will probably answer the phone, and she's licensed also to help you, but she's a tremendous asset to them. She is extremely helpful and friendly, and they're going to get you information sent to you, and then you can make an appointment to talk to them and come see them or talk to them by phone or email. And I'm telling you what, you won't go wrong. We've made money every year. We do not lose anything. When the stock market was going down, and it always goes down from year to year from different times, but you don't lose any money when the stock market's going down, so you don't have to worry about the plans that he puts you in. So you're going to make money, you're going to have money for the rest of your life, and we highly, highly recommend him. The other sponsor that we have is Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia. Used to be Youngblood Motor Group, and that used to be John Youngblood and John Whittaker. Now it's John Whittaker is the owner. He's bought out John Youngblood when he retired, and they have Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia in Springfield, Missouri, on South Campbell. And they have new cars, Nissans and Kias, on one side of South Campbell, and then they have used cars, and a lot of their used cars are the cars that are certified cars. That means they've gone through many more inspection points, and so when you drive them off the road, onto the road, and you take off, you're not going to have problems for many months, a long time, many miles, because they've made sure everything is taken care of before you buy it. So if you can afford to buy a certified car compared to a used car, you're probably better off. But they also have a lot of great lease programs. I bought my last 2 cars from them, getting ready to buy another car from them in 25. And so, again, I highly recommend them because of the service level, the type of cars that they sell, and stuff. So, again, I would not recommend them if and they have business. They have people besides Missouri that come and buy their cars because of the reputation they have. They've been in business almost 50 years. It's about 45, 46 years. Longest family-owned dealership in the Springfield, Missouri, Southwest Missouri area. So there's our 2 sponsors today. And Jared, are you still with us?
Still here, yeah.
Okay. Well, great. I just want to. I got some numbers I wrote down. I just can't hardly believe these numbers that I wrote down. I'm trying to find out where my numbers are. I know. On your website, when I was looking you guys up, you're talking about great big numbers. So is this since the beginning, like 676,000 safe nights that people have? Is those
That's correct.
That's so that's a growing number every day. So it's never going to be accurate on. Do you guys change it from time to time?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we update that on about a monthly basis that we'll look
Wow.
through. And honestly, I think we've got to update that now a little bit more. I'm looking at the same page myself here because just this summer we surpassed answering our 100,000th hotline call.
Yeah, because it
in
said
our history, too.
99,560
Yeah.
hotline calls. I'm thinking you got to have operators full time, 24 hours a day. How do you
We do.
answer so many calls? Oh my gosh.
We do. That's what I mentioned earlier. That's one of the most important pieces of our staff is our advocate team, our direct service members that are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll be there on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and ready to answer the phone.
That's just amazing. And folks, listen to this number. And now it's more. 664,641 meals served. So what's that up to over
Absolutely.
700,000 now? I mean, you got to have some
so,
good
yeah.
cooks. You got to have a lot of budget money to buy food because food costs a lot of money today, right?
It sure does, and that's I've been telling people that for the last year or so that Harmony House is buying that same $3 and $4 gallon of milk that everybody else is right now, and so yeah, any help that folks can give, either through financial gifts that we can go purchase, food for the kitchen, or donate to your local food pantry. We're a member of the Ozarks Food Harvest in Springfield. We're a beneficiary of several church food pantries as well. Or just, anytime that maybe your office has a get together, you cater a meal in and you got a tray of food that just didn't get opened or whatever, bring that by. We'll take those because that's a great meal for our families that evening or the next day that our staff, didn't have to prepare or they prepared in a little different way too. So, those are all ways to impact that kitchen part of our mission too. And one that I always encourage is if you've got a group of family or friends or coworkers, maybe a church small group or something that's looking for a way to give back as a group, consider donating a meal. Cook a meal at somebody's home, bring it into shelter and serve that night. That gives our staff the night off. That gives our kitchen the night off. And from the budget perspective too, that, wasn't a meal that we had to provide and prepare that night too. So, and it's a great way to give back, and it's a great way to interact with folks that are in our shelter and really would appreciate that.
Well, very good. Well, we're going to run out of time, Jared. I really appreciate you being on our show today, and we're able to link you in. And one last time, how do we find your website? What number do we call?
Absolutely. You can find us all the time, myharmonyhouse.org. There's ways to donate. There's ways to interact with our staff. There's a confidential hotline feature on there, a chat feature with our staff directly in Harmony House, or you can reach us anytime, day or night, 417-864-7233. 864-SAFE is our hotline number.
Well, Jared, thank you for being on our show today. I hope you and your family have a great Merry Christmas and your staff and Happy New Year. And I hope that some people today will take advantage. I will talk to my wife, and we make donations at the end of the year too. And so we're doing that right now. And I'm hoping that people will understand the importance of Harmony House in Springfield, Missouri, that serves all of Southwest Missouri. And I guess one last thing, we're both from Christian County. You live in Christian County. And
Yes, sir.
we unfortunately, about a year ago, I've lost track of time now, but we lost our domestic violence center in Christian County in Ozark, Missouri. It
That's
had
right.
to close. And so you were taking some of the Christian County people. You would still take some of those if you had a bed, a room, right?
Absolutely. We always have, we always will. And that's been a unique challenge for us as we've been, building relationships in Christian County with, I know the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's department, police chiefs in both Ozark and Nixa. And, pretty much immediately after we heard the news of that shelter closing its doors, that we reached out and said, what can we do? We don't want the Christian County community to know that they don't have a domestic violence resource. That Harmony House is here, has always been here to support, and if anybody needs help, and we're trying to just provide resources to a lot of people that are doing great work right now already, and not trying to overstep or anything by that means, but try to make sure that we're here to support and provide any help that we can.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for all that you do. Well, folks, that's it today, and we won't be live next week, and I guess we won't be live the following week for New Year's Day. We'll try to see if Dennis can find us a show that we can highlight for that time of year. But we're wishing everyone from Acts Ministry a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you in 25.